Welcome to All at Once, a podcast dedicated to raising multiples because life with multiples deserves its own space.
Whether you're expecting twins, already deep in the chaos, or simply curious about life with multiples, you're in the right place.
We're Sinead and Gabi, two mums with 5 kids between us, including 2 sets of twins.
Sharing honest, unfiltered stories about the highs, the lows, and everything in between.
This is a safe space to laugh, cry, and feel understood, all at once.
Let's jump in. We would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which this podcast is recorded and listened to across the country. Hello and welcome to All at Once, the podcast all about life with multiples.
We're so excited to finally be here and even more excited that you're finally listening to our very first episode.
If you found us right at the beginning, thank you so much for being here and supporting this little idea from day one.
Before we dive into conversations with our guests and other parents of multiples, we thought it only made sense to start by sharing a bit about us.
Who we are, how we ended up on this wild ride of becoming parents of multiples, and how this podcast came to life.
Because the truth is, this whole thing started with the conversation and the realization that there wasn't really a space dedicated to the stories of raising multiples.
So we decided to make one.
But let's go back to the beginning.
Hey, Sinead.
Hi, Gabi. Welcome to All at Once. I can't believe we're here, our very first episode.
So exciting to finally be here after a long time coming. I thought a really good way to kick off our first episode would be to introduce ourselves and I guess a little bit about us and our families. So I'll start.
Oh, go for it.
I'm Gabi. I have got a 4-year-old daughter, Billy, and 2.5-year-old twins, Hunter, a boy, and Darcy, a girl. And what about you, Sinead? Who's in your family?
Yes. I've got my very tall, very English husband, Andy. I also have, almost 3-year-old twins, girl-boy twins, Harper and Declan, and our beautiful dog, Alfie.
Beautiful. I always forget to mention my husband. I also have a husband. And he's tall and dark-haired and beautiful too. Theo.
Gabi, before kids, what did your life look like?
Yeah, so feels like a lifetime ago, but life before kids was much more fast-paced and I had a lot more time on my hands.
Didn't we
do
all?
anything with it. So we now live in Geelong, but we used to live in Melbourne. So, a bit more fast-paced and not regional Victoria. I worked in marketing and PR. I was quite career-driven. My husband was a chippy, now he's a builder. And we just did normal 20-year-old stuff. And we got married, I think, when I was 25. Been together since we were in high school. And then we sort of knew we were ready to start the journey towards having a family. But before we did that, we wanted to have one last adventure. So we planned to travel Australia with our 3 dogs in a caravan. We bought a vintage old school caravan. We moved down to the surf coast in Aries Inlet with my husband's grandma. We started renovating the caravan, rented out our house in Melbourne, and then COVID happened. So we never got to go, but everything happens for a reason, I think. And we spent COVID down on the surf coast in Victoria, which can't complain about that. And we then really realized that we didn't like the busy lifestyle of Melbourne and the hustle and bustle. And so, settled in Geelong at the end of 2020. And not long after that, I fell pregnant with Billy. Yeah, everything happens for a reason and it's all worked out perfectly and it's a perfect place to raise a family. So it's really nice.
That's lovely, Gabi.
Yeah. What about you before you were mum, Sinead?
Yeah, very much like you. I was very career driven, very much about climbing that corporate ladder. I was a fashion designer for just shy of 15 years, I believe, before the twins came along. So there was a lot of travel, which was amazing. Andy and I's life looked very different to now. Yeah, we were in our 20s, I guess, as well back then. And we would just both focused on our careers, working, and then, would have a very healthy social life. Could do whatever we want, whenever we wanted. We thought we were so busy, but little did we know. We got married in 2020. So it was, yes, the year of COVID, as it did for everybody. It shook up our lives. I had my 30th that year. We had a trip planned to Bali. We had our wedding planned, our honeymoon, like our hens, our bucks, all those things. Yeah, so there was a spanner thrown in the works for nearly all of those. It was very last minute. We decided to go ahead with our wedding, but we choose to go ahead, a big reason being that we were ready to start a family and we did want to be we're not old school, but we did wanna
Yeah.
be married first. So we did end up going ahead. Unfortunately, I've got family in Melbourne, Andy's got family from England, and a lot of our loved ones couldn't make it because of the border closures, but we had them all Zoom in. We That was lovely, but we do wish they were able to make it. Yeah, not long after that, we started trying, and I'm sure I'll jump into our journey, but a few years later, we were blessed with, beautiful twins.
Oh, beautiful.
So, was motherhood something you always envisioned for yourself?
I would say yes and no. Like, I wouldn't call myself a maternal person, but I wanted a family, particularly with Zio, my husband. Like, that was something I wanted to create with him. And when I met him, that was something I envisaged. Like, so I'm an only child. I'm an only child until I was 18. I now have half siblings, but like, so for most of my childhood life, I was an only child. So I just played by myself, and that's really quite sad. So I really I wished so much for a big family. Theo is one of 2, but, he also wanted a big family, and so when I met him, it was like that's when I started thinking, "Yeah, I really want a family," but I wouldn't say from the start I was really maternal. But no, now we've got a big family and, couldn't love it anymore. But
Oh,
yeah.
that's
What
beautiful.
about yeah, what about you? Were you always wanting to be a mum?
I always wanted to be a mum for sure. I didn't know when. I didn't have like a timeline. Like you, I was never very confident or maternal holding other people's babies. But like at the same time,
Not the same, is it?
it's not. And I think I was scared to I'm like, how do I hold their heads? Like, I don't want to drop the baby. But I did get clucky, especially in my late 20s, early 30s. Like, I did know it was something I wanted. It was just a matter of when was the perfect time. But is there ever a perfect time? And if it is, does everything even go to plan?
No,
Yeah.
never.
So, Gabby, can you take us back? Because I haven't actually heard your journey to becoming a family of five.
Yeah, sure. So, gosh, Billy's 4 now. So if we go all the way back to the beginning of Billy, well, actually, no, there's a story before Billy. So yeah, I fell pregnant. So obviously we had thought, well, we're going to start to try for a family. And that's when we sort of settled in Geelong, and that's when we actively started trying. And I was lucky enough to fall pregnant quite easily. I think it was maybe the first month of trying. And unfortunately, I lost that baby quite early on, like just before Christmas, which was just a shitty time to, have a miscarriage.
I'm so
It's
sorry.
never a good time, but, just like at that very happy time of year, and everyone's happy and you're just like, this is shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was lucky that, it was early. I didn't have to go to the scan. There's so many things that are positive about my experience, and yeah, but it's just shit, no matter how you experience it. But yeah, so I had a miscarriage around Christmas in 2020, but I am very lucky that I think I'm not even sure that I got my period back. And the following month I had fallen pregnant with Billy. So in January, I was pregnant with Billy, which was so surreal because I just didn't think that could even happen. So I was like, things feel weird. It feels weird, but I couldn't be. But, I did the test and I was still in a really emotional state, grieving this miscarriage. And I took it really hard. But yeah, I was lucky enough to fall pregnant again, and and I went into it with a lot of anxiety,
I can
because you
imagine.
just didn't believe it was gonna, you know, um,
Eventuate.
yeah, eventuate. And so, yeah, but so it did eventuate, and Billy was born 9 months later in September, which apparently is the busiest month to have babies. Don't know why.
Fun facts.
Actually, fun fact, all my family is born in September. So,
No way.
the twins are born late August, but they came early, so they were due in September. So there's
Right.
the twins, me, Zio, and Billy. We're all in September, so it's a very busy month.
So if you know you wanna go for a fourth, you know when to try.
I don't, but so that was Billy, and gosh, life with one child, it feels like a lifetime ago. It really does. But oh gosh, it was so easy, and I don't take this away from any parents of one child, but upon reflection, I'd sometimes love to just have a day back there. Billy was the best, just so easy. She was almost like the handbag baby. Like you could just take her with us wherever we went. Like, we were very not into, like, routines or anything with her because with one, you actually, like, you don't have to be as much.
Yeah.
Like, and also, in fairness, Billy was a good sleeper. So, but, like, yeah, life was very different.
Just out there living your best life. Like, what it sounds
Honestly.
like sounds like the child that you envision before you ever have kids. Like, you're out there having your coffee dates and
Yeah. Like, I
whatnot.
think Zio and I reflect on this, and I think I had maybe she was 5 days old, and we were, like, at a cafe having breakfast, and she was just, like, in the little carrier, and we were having poached eggs
Love
and
that for
salmon
you.
because I was missing my salmon. But I, like it was just yeah, it was very different. And then, yeah, like, loved life with Billy. I went back to work, I think, when Billy was 1, and then we were kind of like, you're in the thick of the, not baby stage, she was 1, but you're still, like, in the new like, toddlery stage, and we were like, "Let's just try again, and, like, let's just do it all at once." And, yeah, again, I was very lucky to fall pregnant quite easily. Again, it was in January. I think it was on January the 2nd that we found out I was pregnant, with the twins. At the time, we didn't know they were twins, just found out I was pregnant. And then we went to the scan at 6 weeks, found out there was 2 of them, and the rest is history, I guess.
Do you have twins in your family?
Yeah, so my dad is a twin.
Okay.
Well, my dad and my auntie are twins, but, like, that, but you don't think
So
that
you truly didn't think it. Like, you're
I
like, "That's not gonna
never
happen to me."
I honestly had never thought about it, like and now, obviously, after you have twins, you actually learn about what it actually means, and it isn't just like a saying, like it does run in the family. It annoys me that it won't for my twins, I believe. I think it will skip them, and then their kids might have twins,
Right, right.
so they won't have to experience what I've had to experience with
Never say
them.
never.
Never say never, you never know. But, yeah, that's how I guess I became to a family of 5.
I love that.
Yeah, but Sinead, I know your experience looks a little bit different. Can you talk us through your journey?
Sure. I'm gonna try to give you the short version because the long version could definitely take up an entire episode. Our journey to becoming a family of 4 was definitely not straightforward. As I mentioned earlier, we got married in 2020. The night of our wedding, we had decided that was going to be the night we officially start trying. Little fun fact about me is that I've always been in like quite long-term relationships and I was all about safety. Like, I was one of those people that I'm not having, like, a teen pregnancy. I'm not having a pregnancy in my 20s. I'm not taking the risk. I don't care if that limits your enjoyment. Like, I was so safe. Little did
Safety
I know,
first.
gosh, I could have yeah. Anyway, we'll jump in. So, yeah, we start trying and, of course, everybody hopes that they're one of those people that, you know, gets pregnant in the first month of trying. And that wasn't the case for us. And it wasn't the case for us after a couple of months. And it wasn't the case for us a year later. So I started getting quite worried very early on, even after a few months had passed. And I booked into a fertility doctor. I have Hashimoto's disease, which is an autoimmune disease. One of the symptoms can be infertility. So there was always like that fear in the back of my head that that could be at play. And when we visited the fertility doctor, he was just asking me about my situation and he just said to me, "I suspect that you have endometriosis." And it kind of took me off guard because you hear about endometriosis and people usually have severe cramps and things like that. And I didn't really, I just felt like everything was quite regular. I didn't really have much pain during my menstrual cycle. So I was kind of like,
Don't think
I
so.
don't think
Yeah.
so, yeah. And he's like, "But unfortunately, the only way we can truly diagnose this is by you having surgery." So I agreed to have the surgery because at that stage, nothing was happening. I had nothing to lose. So
Hmm.
had the surgery and it's like a discovery surgery to check if you actually have it. And if you do in the same surgery, they remove it.
See, I've actually had the surgery because I had all the pain, but they didn't find endometriosis. So it's
Interesting.
interesting. Yeah, but
There you go. There you go.
yeah.
Supposedly, don't quote me on my stats here, but supposedly I think he said something like 40% of women don't have any, like, physical like, they don't have any symptoms like pain.
Mm,
So, my sister has endometriosis, and her situation's completely opposite to me.
and
Like,
she has the pain.
she has the
Yeah.
pain. But funnily enough, When I come out of surgery, I find out that I had stage 4 endo, which I believe is the worst, stage, and I was absolutely riddled in it. Believe me, I could feel that once it was removed, and they kinda
As in you
told.
felt better once it
No, I felt, like, the pain after that like, I was in
Oh,
bed for, like, a week. I actually feel like, that was worse than my C-section, to be honest. I
wow.
think the removal, yeah, there was just so
Well, because I
much.
guess it's remove yeah.
Yeah. I think they did a few other things as well, like, cleared out a few things. Anyway, my fertility doctor told me, "So in the next 3 months is probably your best shot of falling pregnant naturally." And so we got at it straight away as as you do once
It's
I
like the
recover.
Weekly Night all over again.
Absolutely. Yes. And so we actually fell pregnant on the first cycle, and I could not believe it. And I was over the moon. I was like, "Okay, we've got our answer." It was endometriosis. Like, we're all good now. And we graduated from the fertility doctor. We got ourselves an OB. We went in and had, I think, like, 2, like, ultrasounds in the chair at the OB's clinic, and we ended up doing a NIP test, I think, about 10.5 weeks. And when I was coming in to get those results at about just maybe 1 or 2 days shy of 12 weeks, it was the first time I'd gone to any of my appointments without Andy. I think he just couldn't get work off that day, and we felt like we were in the all clear by
Yeah,
that
once you
stage.
get to
Like,
that point, yeah.
yeah, when you haven't experienced a loss or anything, you just kinda have that idea that you just gotta get to 12 weeks and you're all good. Well, I did think that. And unfortunately, I went and sat on the table and just to get the routine ultrasound that my OB did every time you visit. And he went quiet, and he's quite chatty, quite a friendly guy. And I'm an anxious person, and I just knew straight away something was wrong. And just the look on his face, and he turned it to me, and he's like, "I'm so sorry. There's no heartbeat." It honestly, it did take a minute. Like, it took a minute to process, and then they took me into a room, and they were like, "We're so sorry. Can we call Andy? What can we do?" Like, they, like, kinda talked me through the options, but my head was seriously spinning. I was just so sad, and I was like, "Hold it together, Sinead, hold it together, like, just get to your car," and I just couldn't even make it out of the room without bawling my eyes out. And, like, the worst part, I think the part that, like, stays with me the most is, like, walking back out to the reception room, and there's all these pregnant
Mm,
women sitting on the chairs, and I probably scared the life out of them all, but, like, they're all happily pregnant, and I've just lost my baby. And,
yeah,
I just found out the sex as well, and we were gonna have a little boy, which is what I wanted, and that was kind of bittersweet as well.
that's I'm so
Uh,
sorry, and that's so hard to know, like, that's just, like, this juxtaposition of, like,
yeah.
I'm so happy and then it's torn away and yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
especially
horrible.
especially when, like, people that, struggling with infertility, they know that every month feels like a year. Like, you're just, when you're tracking your ovulation,
Mm,
you're waiting for your period, like, just, it just felt so long, and to have that stripped away was really, really painful.
I can't even imagine, yeah.
Yeah. And then, my OB was like, um, "We'll do a D&C." And so I was booked in for a D&C. And that was kind of traumatic in itself, but the team was beautiful. And then my OB said to me, like, "After your D&C, there should be a little bit of spotting, but that's it. And if you have any issues, call me." And because I should have said this earlier, but I had what's called a miscarriage. So there was no sign of, like, loss. There was no blood or anything
Yeah,
like
like, I
that.
had the bleeding, whereas you
Right. I didn't
yeah,
have not even a spot.
which I think is, like, even I can't say, but I can imagine even harder because you actually don't know and you're going to this appointment with hope.
I know, I know. I will say to you, like, I did have this gut feeling that morning. I was like, I just woke up and I felt different.
Something was different, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I'm quite intuitive like that, but I was just being like, but I was so anxious at the same time. I was like, "You're just in
Mm,
your head, Sinead." But, basically, my OB also gave me the option. He was like, "You could pass the baby naturally
mm.
or have the D&C." And I just thought passing it naturally, and that could take weeks, like, it was too traumatic. I was also in this mindset, I just need to try again, like, I need
Yeah,
to
it probably
grieve and try
delays you
again.
further if you're waiting.
I was just in this go, go, go mode. And, like, in hindsight, I look back and I go, I should have taken longer to process, like, each thing that happened to me on my journey. So basically, I start bleeding, and I mean, it was scary, without being too graphic, like, what was
Mm,
coming out of me, and so I rang my OB, and he's like, "Okay, I'll come back to you," and he comes back to me, and he's like, because he was like, that shouldn't be happening," and he
mm.
just happened to get my test results back that day, and then, he rings me back, and he's like, "Sinead, I've got some more bad news," and I'm like, "What?"
What could it
What
be?
else could like, I don't understand what else could happen. He goes, "You've had something happen to you that happens in less than 1% of pregnancies." And I was like, Of course I have," like, knowing my luck. And he's like, "You've had what's called a partial molar pregnancy." So basically, a partial molar pregnancy is when 2 sperms fertilize 1 egg. That egg has too many chromosomes, and there's abnormal placental tissue growing alongside the baby. So there was a baby, there was a heartbeat, but the pregnancy was unfortunately not viable.
Mm.
So from there, I had to do weekly HCG tests. Um, so I had to go to OB's clinic every single week. And the whole point of that was they had to wait till my HCG got down to 0 because before I could start trying again. Because
Yeah, is that because, like, it's still, like, sort of living inside of
I
you,
get
or
well, yes and no. I guess they're checking to make sure they got rid of all the placental tissue. Because if they didn't, and if my HCG levels either increased or plateaued, I would actually have to start on chemo. And that was horrific to hear. You don't kind of put pregnancy and chemo in the same sentence. And what was going on is that placental tissue can become something called gestational triblastic, I think it's pronounced, disease, and that is a form of cancer. So this tissue, is cancer causing. For about 6 months, I believe, I had to do these HCG tests every week until they went to 0, and there was a few times where, like, it wasn't decreasing as much as it did the week before. My anxiety was through the roof, but
I imagine.
eventually
Was there any indication of, like, from, like, how long it could take, or it was just like, it takes as long as it takes, sort
it
of?
it's one of those things that I was trying to research, and there was not much online about this. There was varying amounts of times, like, some people said it went in 3 months, some people were, like, over a year, and I'm just like, again, in my head, like, "Oh my god, another year? Like, I'm gonna have to wait another year? Like, what have I done to deserve this?" But luckily, after I got to 0, my OB gave us the all clear, and, like, we were straight to trying, and we decided, like, to
Wedding
try
night 2.0?
3 point
3
yes.
what where are we at now?
I don't know. So we started trying again, and my belief was we'll fall pregnant naturally because when you're pregnant, endometriosis doesn't grow. If you're not getting a period, endometriosis doesn't grow. So
Mm,
I didn't really think there'd be much or any growth. So we
mm.
started trying naturally. I think like 3 months went by, nothing is happening. I'm like, "Nah, back to that fertility doctor we go." I like begged for an
And
appointment, and
every month or every week, I'm sure, is feeling like this is just,
it was all consuming. Like,
yeah.
it was putting pressure on relationships, it was putting pressure on, like, work. Yeah, it was tough, and then so we got into the fertility doctor again, and he was like, "I think we need to do IVF because what you had happen to you is a chromosome issue, and if we get embryos, we can actually do further testing to ensure this doesn't happen to you again, because don't ask me, but there's a risk of this happening again." I can't remember the percentage, but, I was like, "Okay, let's just do IVF." And I was kinda, again, a bit naive in my beliefs going, "What, like, you just do IVF and, like, you definitely are guaranteed embryos," kinda thing. Oh my
Mm.
gosh, little did I know again. And so we start IVF, I'm feeling really positive about it the first round.
How was that process for you? Like, I hear it can be
Yeah,
really
it was
difficult.
it was okay for me.
Yeah.
I think I just
I think
didn't
you
care.
deserve that.
I was like, "I've been through worse now." No, and I don't wanna discount it, like, it was tough with the needles and, like, just the bloating, and I put on a lot of weight and stuff. Mentally, I was okay with it. Like, I was
Yeah.
looking at it as a positive. I'm like, "This is gonna get
This is
me this is
your
a
hope.
step closer to my baby," kinda thing, and I'm like, Nothing can go worse than what's already happened here." Um, so I was just like, get through it." And then so when it came to the egg retrieval, I couldn't even tell you the number right now, I'd have to look it up, but I got an okay amount of eggs, and I was like, "Cool, it's all good." So they mix the egg with the sperm in the petri dish, and you wait like I think it's 6 days to blastocyst stage, and that's when you find out like if the how many embryos you've got and how many like could you do a live transfer, which I wasn't going to do because we had to go and send them off for genetic testing,
Sure.
which I won't go into it too much, but you can go off for genetic testing and lose embryos from the
Yeah, right.
testing. So there's a risk, and I didn't love that. But I also didn't want to go through what I went through. But
Yeah.
unfortunately for me, none of my embryos made it to blastocyst. I think one did, but the quality was so poor
Mm.
that they were like, sorry, like it's no. And then
Breaking again.
heartbreaking again. That's when I was really devastated. And then they said to us, like, we have learnt something from this, though. And they're like, you have very poor egg quality. And they're like, and I already had a very low egg count and for my age. And they were like, so at least we can change our regime a little bit and mix it up for the next round. So we went into the next round and the same thing happened again. And I'm like, are you joking? Like, what's going on? And then the fertility doctor suggested we do the lap surgery again for the endo, just in case it had grown back, because I couldn't even tell you how long this has been now. It's nearly going on to the second year, I imagine.
Wow.
And so we do the surgery. It was nowhere near as painful this time, so I knew I just didn't have that much. And he said
Mm.
there wasn't that much, but it was just ticking another box. So we go and do the third round of IVF, and exactly the same result. And yeah,
Another
we were,
blow. It's just
and
I can't.
a huge blow emotionally, physically, but also to the wallet. Like, this is getting
Yeah, of course.
ridiculous at this point. And, we've just also had a wedding not too long ago and bought a house. Yeah, it was tight times.
And it's not what you think you should be, you just wanna start a family.
Exactly, but it is what it is. And then the doctor said, like, looking it back, you have gotten pregnant once naturally. He's like, I think that maybe we need to go closer to nature. And he suggested an IUI. So most people actually do an IUI prior to IVF, and we never did it because the chances are a lot lower of success than IVF. And just
And so
because of
what is I
it's like the turkey paster baster
Yeah,
baster
beautiful.
method. Yeah. But you can do that naturally in the sense of like you take no meds to help you ovulate. But I opted to take meds to help me ovulate. Just give me the best chances I've got. So yeah, Andy went into the special men's room and then yeah. It's like what you see off the movies, basically. And a lot cheaper than IVF. A lot cheaper.
Yeah.
And I honestly at this stage I had no hope. Like, to be honest, I was completely deflated, so I wasn't
Oh, I
expecting
bet.
much.
Yeah.
This one, nothing happened. Knew it. Like, just knew it. I was like, "All right." They were only about 1,000 or $1,100 each at that time, not including the meds. So, after you've been, like, spending 10K plus around an IVF, you're
Oh,
like, $1,000, it's a lot of money, but it's nothing in comparison. Like, we could have had 30 tries, like, of
yeah.
IUIs. So we went back one more time. I was like, I was ready to look into all different options if this didn't work. And so funnily enough, we do the ovulation medicine, and that you do an ultrasound to check how many follicles I think it is that you
I
have,
think
and they actually cancel your cycle if you're over a certain amount because of the risk of multiples, right?
yeah.
So I believe
So
I
that's
had
from taking the
the medicine, yeah,
yes,
the
yeah, yeah,
ovulate,
yeah.
and I think again, this is all a bit hazy, but I believe they cancel anything over 2, or it could be over 3, and I believe I had 3. And the doctor goes, "If you're happy, I'm happy to go ahead because honestly, there's not much chance it's even gonna work, to be honest." Like, he even was like, "It's probably not gonna
Thank God,
work." From you Yeah, from, like, but he was a realist, and then,
'cause we need them.
yeah, and I didn't really think any because like, they can actually split, so you could have
Yeah, so you
quintuplet
could
or more, like,
well, at this point,
I was like, "Nothing is gonna happen." And then, I yeah, I had this is a bit I'm sorry, I'm like, alright, it has become the long episode here of this, but I was at work and the clinic called me and they're like, "Have you taken a pregnancy test?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't." And they're like, "Well," because they told me the next day to take the test, but then we found out it was a public holiday and they're not going to be open. And I'm sitting
mm,
at work, like panicking, and I had to get my colleague to like go to the 7-Eleven with me down the road to see if we could get a pregnancy test, and they didn't have any. And I'm like, I can't work. I can't
But
be
are
at work.
they asking you that because they know something that you don't know at this
No,
point, or
they were
just because of the
calling
public
me.
holiday?
Yeah, there was a
Yeah, yeah,
courtesy call,
okay.
and I was like, "Well, no, but in all the paperwork, it says to test on this day because it's very regimented, right?" And I was
Yes.
like, oh my god, like, I need to know. I can't wait." I'm like, "I can't. I'm not
No.
Jesus." And so I called them back and I'm like, "I can't find a pregnancy test." Like, they're like, "Come in for a blood test and you just have to wait a few hours and we'll tell you." And then I just sat at work. I went back to work just sitting sweating bullets. And then they called me with the good news. And then they said I had a very healthy HCG. And they're like, we continued testing HCG. And then I went in for my dating scan. It might have been a little bit earlier because it was the fertility clinic. And then the fertility doctor, like when most parents of twins find out, were just like, I've got a reason for why you're feeling so sick. And then he like moved the thingy bob to one side and he's like, 1, 2. And I'm like, what? Like, what? And we found out we're having twins in that moment. And Andy and I don't think have ever been more silent in our lives. Like we're in complete shock. And it was the happiest and scariest moment of my life because I was so
Yeah.
happy, but I was like, I know twins are high risk. And I was like,
Mm.
this is just another bad card that's been dealt to me. Like, this is gonna end in tragedy. Like, I was such in a horrible, horrible mindset.
Yeah.
But, it all worked
It
out,
all worked
and
out.
that was Harper and Declan.
It's amazing, but, like, gosh, what a journey, but, I
Oh,
guess worth it in the end, but I can't
absolutely.
imagine that journey, but I'm so grateful that they're here.
Thank you. I am too. And honestly, like in the time, like when you're going through that, it feels extremely long and it feels like it's never going to end, but it's worth all of that emotional, physical trauma and every dollar. So
Yeah.
I don't regret a minute of it.
Is there something that you wish people understood more about this kind of path to motherhood?
I wish people really understood how all consuming it can be if you're experiencing infertility or you're going through fertility treatments. Like, it's sometimes hard to show up as a good wife, a good friend, a good family member because it's all you think about. And I think it's really important to give your friend or family member a lot of grace in that time because they just can't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
I totally understand, like, even when, like, and this is on a minute scale, but even in that month when I had a miscarriage, it consumes you. You think,
Yes.
"What what's wrong with me?" And, like, I'm not even speaking to understanding your journey, but just that tiny feeling I had, I cannot even imagine going through that for years, and I think it's, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
incredible that you've done that and to be out the other side, but yeah, I really can't
No,
understand.
and it's like, do you know a good way to put it? When you know how you meet other twin mums and they just get it? It's like meeting other women that are going through that or going through infertility or treatments, like, that is all I felt the only people I felt like I could relate to and talk to at
Yeah,
that time. So,
for
yeah,
sure, yeah, and,
yeah.
like,
But to turn it on a positive note, Gabby, I forgot to ask earlier, what was it like when when you and Zio found out you were having twins? What was your reaction like?
see, it was weird because I had these, like, weird signs before, like, I really felt something was
Really?
I felt like I was having twins, so, like, I was so, and I guess also it's different because I've had a pregnancy before, but with the twins, I was so hungry, like, this whole other level, like, I remember sitting down and I ate, like, a whole plate of food, like, a huge dinner plate of food, and I was like, "This has not touched the side of my stomach, like, I am ravenous right now." And, of course, I started Googling, and, like, the first thing that came up was, like, "You're having twins," and I was like, "No, I'm not." Even though I've, like, got twins in the family, I was still like, "No."
Right.
And then the next morning, we were driving to our dating scan, and this ad came on the radio like, "So, you're having twins," like, just, like, weird, and I was like, "This is just weird, Zero, something's weird." And then we went into our scan and, like, because you can see the screen up there, and I
Yeah.
didn't even click that it looked different because like,
Right.
uh, I don't know, I think probably I've also been very anxious in my pregnancy, so I'm probably there thinking,
Just wanna see a
not
heartbeat.
even looking at that, like,
Yeah.
yeah, and then she was like, "Oh, so there's 2," and I think I was like, I was happy but shocked, kind of like how you
Yeah.
said, like, you're so happy, but you're shocked.
You're processing it all at once
You're
too.
processing it all at once, but I was reflecting on this, and I think it was, like, I went into the pregnancy like it was a singleton pregnancy because that
Sure.
was all I kind of knew, so I didn't freak out. I was like, "I've had 1 child. I've
True.
done this." Like, I wasn't scared of
Okay.
actually having 2 more children. That didn't scare me. Like, the anxiety around pregnancy and high-risk pregnancy, that scared me, but actually parenting 2 more children, I didn't really think about.
Especially if you had like an angel child, Billy.
I know, I was
You're
like,
like, two, give me two more of her. I'm
can't be
good.
that hard." That was very naive upon reflection, but a nice way to go through the pregnancy, because then in the pregnancy, all I had to worry about was my anxiety of being pregnant in a high-risk pregnancy. But yeah, no, like, I don't think it hit me until they were here, like, "Oh gosh, this is a different ball game than having 1 baby." But I guess that's kind of like a ignorance is bliss, like, this is all I know. I know 1
Yeah.
baby, I've grown 1 baby, and I've raised 1 baby, so but now they're here and it's wild.
What was it like afterwards? Like what happened after you guys left that room?
Kind of like you're on this high, and I was so excited, and then it kind of hit me, but weirdly which is maybe very vain or I don't know, but I was really worried about my body and holding a twin pregnancy. That's where I went. I went into this state of like, "Oh my god, I've actually gotta like, grow these 2 babies inside of me. What does that look like for me?" Because the commentary I'd heard around twins was like,
Mhm.
"Your body's gonna be ruined, you're gonna be destroyed."
They're
And
gonna
also
come
obvious
early.
yeah, and then there's the anxiety around, are they gonna make it? All of that sort of stuff, and then that hit me, whereas Zero was like, "Oh, I'm so excited, instant family, this is amazing." I was like, "That's nice for you. You don't
Yeah.
have to actually do this." Um, but then you know, you come to terms with it, and then I really enjoyed my pregnancy. I actually had a great pregnancy other than the anxiety of carrying 2 babies at one time and the high
Yeah.
risk and
I'd say that
yeah.
my pregnancy was the same. It was riddled with anxiety, and I think the innocence kind of was lost because of experiencing the miscarriage. Like I didn't get to enjoy it like the first 12 weeks of my first pregnancy. Like I did all the surprises and, you know, I remember putting a bun in the oven for Andy and it took him
Yeah.
so long to get it. But, I didn't do anything like that. I didn't do like a gender reveal.
Yeah, because 'cause you're too scared.
I didn't really acknowledge the pregnancy till I was about 20 weeks. I had to get past that like 12-week stage before I could even acknowledge it. And then I
And
had
did you feel hopeful then? Like, were you excited? Or like, at 12 weeks or at any stage, or was it yeah.
I would definitely say the first 12 weeks, it was just pure survival. It was like, just make it to 12 weeks
Mm.
and then you can get excited.
Each little milestone kind of
Milestone. When it was like, I did have a milestone. I had to make it, that nip test had to come back good and I had to make it past. I think it was like, yeah, the 12-week stage because that's where I had my loss. And
mm,
then I had like a lot of attachment around 20 weeks, maybe it being halfway. I just was like, I have to make it
and that big
past.
scan with
And
the
then,
yeah.
yeah, if you followed me on socials since the start of my journey, I really didn't actually start sharing anything till 20 weeks because I was just so paranoid. I didn't want to put
Mm.
it out there. And, if anyone's listening and you've gone through something similar, like try not to let that overshadow your experience. Like do all those milestone things, like surprise your friends with the test, like do the gender reveal. I kind of like look back and you
Yeah,
know, yeah, I don't want to say regret, but it was overshadowed for sure.
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
so, like, hard after going through your journey, and then you feel like you can't even enjoy it when you've had it, like
Yeah. But not to be a negative Nancy, I did like as the pregnancy progressed and everything was looking good, I did start getting a lot more positive and start more enjoying it and embracing it. And that's how I started sharing on socials because I started feeling confident enough
so
in my
good.
pregnancy. So yeah, and it all turned out okay
So
in the
past
end.
that 20-week mark, do you feel like I struggled more with anxiety, I think, towards the end of my
Right.
pregnancy,
Right.
but, like, do you feel like past that you were obviously still there's always an anxiety in any pregnancy,
Yes.
but, like, you felt better?
Yeah, it's like you said, it was always there. I don't think I felt better until I heard the cries when they came out of me. That was like when my body just went like, "We did it."
We've
But
done it.
we've done it. What about you though? So why did you feel anxiety like later on in the pregnancy? Is it the risk of them coming early?
I think it was like it got to the point where I just wanted them out. Like everyone tells you, "Oh, they're gonna
Yeah.
come early, they're gonna come early," like and then I started thinking, like and this is just so in my own head and irrational, but like, "Oh, well, everyone's saying they should come early, so why are they not coming early? What's wrong?"
Right. Okay.
And then I had a horrible experience with, a different obstetrician than my normal obstetrician who said Darcy was I think I was probably like 33 and a half, 34 weeks, and they said, "Oh,
Mhm.
Darcy is she's her growth has stopped." And I just was like, "Well, okay, we're nearly at 35 weeks, like, should we not just get them out? Like,
Get
is
them
that not the
out.
safer thing to do?" To me, like, same as you, like, once you hear them, you know they're here. I felt like I just wanted them here because then I could control the situation.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
when they're
Yeah.
inside of you, you have no control.
It's
You've
not
just
up
got to
to yeah.
trust your body. And so that one really scared me. And then it was like a week later, come back for a scan. And I was like, well, what? So much could happen in a week. Like, what if something's gone really wrong? And anyway, everything was fine. And I saw my normal obstetrician and he reassured me that everything was fine. But it's just little
But that
things like
can't be
that can
undone.
just,
Like, that can
yeah.
really send somebody, like, yeah,
Yeah,
right over
because
the
I was like,
edge.
we're nearly at 35. I know that like once, well, because there's every little in twin pregnancies or multiple pregnancies, they tell you there's every little stage that they want you to get to, and so every stage, like the milestones you were talking to, you get to that stage and you're like, oh, okay, we're good,
Yeah.
like, and then I was like, well, we're good now. You're telling me we're good, so just get them out because if she's not growing and something's wrong, just get her out.
So you've had this scare. When did the twins actually end up coming? And rewind, did you plan to have a vaginal birth or were you booked in for a planned C-section?
Yeah, so the whole time my goal was for a vaginal birth, for the twins, purely because I'd done that with Billy and that's what I knew. Not that like the experience with Billy was great. Like it was great, it was painful, but it's what I knew and that's what I sort of felt more comfortable with. But unfortunately, I think Darcy was the the first
Winner A?
twin, yeah, and
Yeah.
she was breech, so it
Okay.
was ruled out. I think it was ruled out at, 35 weeks at that appointment with my obstetrician, so I was in public health. I don't think they book in Caesars until you're
Right.
getting closer towards
Sure.
needing the Caesar, and so in that appointment at around that 35-week mark, my OB booked me in for 36 and 6 weeks.
Mhm.
And so I had that, I was so excited because that gave me a date. I was like, they're gonna be here. I feel this like anxiety is like it's relieved that they're coming. But then unfortunately on that day,
What? What?
so I dropped Billy off at daycare, like we'd done the goodbyes, I'd cried, all morning, took the dogs for a walk, and then my obstetrician called me and he said, unfortunately, we can't deliver the twins today because there's not enough special care beds in Geelong.
My God.
And so, yeah, because Darcy was measuring small, they just assumed that they're both going to need to go to special care. And the
Right.
risk of them not having enough beds and them both coming, they would have gone by ambulance to Melbourne if they needed special care.
Right.
So I was distraught. My obstetrician was like, okay, just come in, we'll do some monitoring. And I think like, I just cried nonstop. Like, you've told everyone as well, like, everyone's excited, I've got even, like, little things, like, I've got Billy looked after by my mum, just, like, logistics at this point.
Yeah.
I was like, "Mum, turn back down the freeway, it's not happening."
My gosh,
Um,
I couldn't even imagine.
but so I went in for monitoring. I was distraught. I'm not sure until this day if my obstetrician saw me so distraught
Yeah.
and he was doing a scan and then I had like a pain which I'd been having for like 2 weeks because you're so heavily
Yeah.
pregnant. Everything hurts at this
Everything
point.
hurts. Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, that's weird. What's that?" And I was like, "Oh, just another pain." And he was like, "No, I think you could be in labor." So I think like he called me at 9 a.m. This was probably like 11:30 a.m. He's doing this scan. I'm having this pain. So at this point, I think I'm not having the baby. So 9 a.m. I'm having the babies. 11:30 I'm not having the babies. I think by 12 p.m. he said, "Yep, you're in labor. You're going in for your Caesar." Zio was getting in his scrubs, and they were born at 3 p.m. that day.
Wow. But
So
but
it's just like this
rewind, like, what
roller
happened with
coaster.
the nursery beds if they weren't
So
available?
I don't know. They magically found two special care beds. I don't
All
know,
that stress, like,
all that
when you're
stress.
about to give birth is the
Yeah.
last thing a mother needs.
Yeah, so but they arrived, Darcy went straight to special care, Hunter came into recovery with me, and unfortunately, he needed to go into special care as well, not for any reason, just, low blood sugar levels, but so magically they found 2 special care beds. Very grateful, like, that we didn't have to, get in an ambulance to Melbourne.
Yeah.
But yeah, but your journey when had Declan and Harper born, what
Right.
gestation did you get to? And
Very
was it less stressful than my day?
Yes, definitely. So, different experience to you in the sense that we learnt very early on when our planned C-section was going to go ahead. So, obviously, there's lots of variables and that could change, but it was temporarily booked in from the first trimester. So, we were planned on 37 weeks exactly, but I never thought we would actually make it again from all the
Yeah, you're told
forums,
not
social
happening.
media, the Facebook groups. You're like, there's no way you make it to full term because I believe 37 weeks is classified as full
Full
term
term,
for
yes.
twins. And we actually went through the private system. So that date actually ended up staying in place and everything went smoothly.
How lovely.
Yeah, just turned up that morning. I think we were first, second, or we originally were first, but there was someone more high risk than us. So they got pushed above us. And I think we were booked in for 8:30 in the morning. So I couldn't sleep that night, but we literally woke up, got ready, got in the car, drove to the hospital, and yeah. So I turned up to the hospital. Andy got his scrubs on. We waited around for a little bit, got wheeled into theatre, and
Then they just
the rest
arrive.
is history. Yeah. Um, I was, I've got to be honest, having a C section was so scary to me. Like the
Really?
idea of it, I had always pictured myself having a vaginal birth
Hmm.
prior to twins. And I very early on made the decision to go with a C section. But
Was it an option? Like, they did.
yes,
Yes.
yes. I think, I'm just such a curious person. Like the whole way through my pregnancy, every scan, I'd be like, so are they in the position where I could have a vaginal birth if I wanted? And they were, but he said it was pretty ideal. There was just one thing, and it wasn't major, but it was like, it would be better if, like, I think it was something to do with Declan's position, if he was just a little bit better positioned, but it was still like an actual option, but we'd obviously already ruled it out. And I think for me, again, like, unfortunately, this fertility stuff and the losses and everything
Hmm.
haunts you. And I was like, and I know
Just
C-section comes with risk, right? But I was like, I want to rule out additional risks. And like, obviously, we all
100%.
know with twin birth, vaginal twin birth, there are a lot of risks that
Oh,
present
yeah, you could have, like,
themselves.
one naturally and then grow into an emergency Caesar, like, there's so
Girl,
many.
that's not for me.
I don't think that's for anyone.
That would be like, we're going to have to find somebody and talk to somebody that's experienced this because yeah, well, you get to experience if you're only gonna ever have one pregnancy, you could experience both in one go. Okay. No, so we rolled in and it all went well. They were born within 2 minutes of each other. Harper came out first, and then Declan actually peed on me when he was born, so that was lovely. It was
Beautiful.
nice welcoming into the world. We were told that there was a high chance they would go to nursery. We
Yeah,
toured the nursery in advance for preparation. I had gestational diabetes, which we'll talk to at another time. So
yeah.
there were some concerns about their blood sugar levels and them actually being quite big babies because of the
That's what
gestational
you want,
diabetes.
isn't it?
You think that, but it comes with risk.
Yeah,
And
we'll
but
talk about it. Yeah.
they were fine. They obviously, as soon as they were born, they were quickly like taken to the little beds to get checked over. But I was able to hold them and I never let go. Like,
Amazing.
yeah, had them the entire time, which I'm so, so grateful for because I know so many mothers of multiples don't always get to experience that. So I am
Yeah.
forever grateful
But
that
you
that
went
was.
through a long journey to get there, so you deserve that.
I sometimes think I'm like, okay, like I did think they were going to get taken away because just my luck, and
Mm.
I'm grateful. Yeah, I
You deserve that.
yeah.
You
I
you
don't know. I
deserve
don't
that.
want to say not everyone deserves that, but I was just like,
No, but
give me something.
yeah.
No, and I got two beautiful, healthy babies, and I'm forever blessed, and I'm forever so grateful for my experience. But yeah,
Cool. Well, I
yeah,
can't wait to talk more about our babies and our journeys, but I
yeah.
guess
We could talk forever,
we'll
couldn't
talk
we, on
forever
this
and we
topic?
will. But why don't we talk about, yeah, like how we got here?
How the podcast started.
Well, I, slid into your DMs.
You sure did.
I sure did. No, I think it was when you had, just finished up working as a fashion designer, and I think you put up a question box like, "What's next?" And I was just like, well, I've been thinking about this for ages, and what better time to ask than now when she's literally asking for an opportunity. So I think I said podcast question mark. And that was I think about 6 months ago. And now here
Crazy.
we are.
No, and it's so funny when Gabby slid into my DMs, like, podcast had been on my goals list. Like, I had envisioned that also, and it was so cool to talk to Gabby. I'm like, "This is, like, a complete stranger, like, is she a psychopath?"
Could
TBC.
be.
But, like, everything just seemed to align with us, like, our ideas for it, this type of guests that we'd like to come onto the podcast, like, our work ethics. I obviously didn't, like, accept straight away. We jumped on a few phone calls, got to know each other, but hey, what's life without a little risk?
Yeah. So hopefully you guys listen and it's good because
Yeah, we've
otherwise,
spent the last 6 months, like, putting our blood, sweat, and tears into it, and we
if
really
nothing else, hopefully I found a friend of another multiple
yeah,
mum.
definitely, definitely.
But if you had to describe all at once in one cheeky sentence, Sinead, what would it be?
Oh my god. 2 very overstimulated mums talking about the ups and downs of motherhood.
This wild journey that we're on.
What about you?
I guess I'd like to think of it as like a really real, raw space that hopefully makes other mums of multiples feel less alone, like
Absolutely.
maybe I felt
Yeah.
when I was, starting out my journey. So that's what I hope for it.
That's a big thing, isn't it, Gabby? That's, like, probably the number one reason why we started this podcast is because when we got chatting, like, it's both something that we wish was more readily available when we're pregnant. I guess the first thing you do when you find out you're pregnant with multiples,
Because
especially
you
if you
follow Sinead.
yeah, you follow me. No, humble, humble. The first thing you do is either jump on social media. This is if you don't, have anyone that in your
Mm.
life that has had twins or multiples. You jump on social media, you jump on the Facebook groups or the forums or Dr. Google. And it can be quite lonely and it can be quite scary what you come about. Like, I know some of the things I read did create a lot of anxiety and fear for me in my journey. And that's a big reason why I started sharing is like I wanted to like share the positive sides of twin motherhood and twin
Mm.
pregnancy and that's something we want to do here. We want to speak through our experiences so you can feel less alone. And we want to bring on experts that have, invaluable advice and
Or
sort of
even other podcasts, they're all
sure.
related to having one
Fun.
child or even different age children, but it's not the same. Like,
No.
how do I get 2 children to sleep? Help
Yes.
me. Like,
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
not the same, and that's what I hope we can share through experts, through advice from other mums, and from our own experience, and yeah, I hope it helps other
Yeah.
mums
We
or
hope you
parents.
find it to be like a really valuable resource.
Yeah. Um, is there anything you're secretly excited to share on this podcast?
I'm honestly just so excited to hear from other multiple mums' experiences. I'm also really interested in speaking to some of the guests that we have planned and hearing their invaluable insights and advice. What about you?
I think I'm most excited just to chat to other mums. More importantly, I love hearing from other mums, and it's just like relating to other mums, getting tips from other mums because I still need all the tips and advice I can get. And yeah, I
Yeah,
just think it's going to be really exciting, and also just to share our own journey. And I think we're going to learn so much too. So it's going to be
absolutely.
good.
So excited.
To finish off, should we finish
Mm-hmm.
off with some rapid fire questions?
Sure. Should I start or would you like to go?
Or you go?
All right, you ready?
No?
In one word, what's life really like raising multiples?
Busy.
Yeah. All right. One thing people would be surprised to know about you.
That I have major OCD and I can't stop the microwave on a multiple of 5.
No feels. I hard relate. I have OCD too, but from getting to know you, I know yours is on a whole other level.
But
Do
it's
you
a
have
good
any
thing.
do you have any other ticks?
A lot, but we'll learn about them.
Sure. What's a belief you've had to learn about raising multiples?
That you can do it all and it's okay to ask for help.
Absolutely. Um, okay. What's one multiple survival tactic you stand by?
Have a few probably, but I'll get into that. But probably just not to compare yourself, particularly to singleton parents, but also to even other parents of multiples, because all children are different. And if you feel like you need a break and you want to put on a movie for your kids, don't feel guilt about it.
No. No, that's a good one, Gabby. Okay, this is my favorite question. Best well-meaning but wildly unhelpful comment.
So I know that everyone says it, but it's that, oh, you've got your hands full. But I wanted to flip it the other way. And what I love is when you actually go out in the street and you just have another mum come up to you and say, you're doing amazing. And that is literally like the best thing that can happen in your whole day. It
That
like changes, like,
everything. It's
yeah,
that makes a mama multiples day
yeah,
when you see that person approaching and you're like, "Oh, here we go with the generic comment." And then they actually turn it around and say something like really
yeah.
positive. It's so yeah, it puts a smile on my
I
face
think
every
one
time.
time I was at Aldi and someone like offered my bag dropped on the floor with all the 3 kids and someone offered me their bag and I think I could have just cried. Like, "Just help. This is
Beautiful.
hard. Just help."
Yeah, absolutely.
But Sinead, your turn. In one word, what's life really like raising multiples?
I'm gonna say whirlwind. It's
Yeah.
definitely a whirlwind.
Yep. What's one thing people would be surprised to know about you?
Okay, I've actually got 2 that spring to mind. The first one is and people are, like, mortified when they find out this, but I don't drink coffee or tea, and I never have. I've
No, that's
never
not
had
okay.
more than a sip of coffee, and if you
How
can't
are you
tell
surviving?
look, I probably have undiagnosed ADHD or something
Okay,
because
good. We've got natural
no. Look,
answers.
I would love to drink coffee. I really would. I hate the taste of it. Like,
Yeah.
I want all the things it does for you, but
So you have like a Red Bull.
I don't. I don't. Not since my uni days, not since my studying days. I don't. Nothing.
So she's
Water.
just superhuman. All right.
Definitely not. I think I crash a lot earlier than the regular person. But Andy and I have said if there's any stage of life where we're going to drink coffee, because I don't know, I found a husband that doesn't drink coffee or tea either. Like, can you believe that we found each other?
No, I can't.
Yeah. So we're like, if there's going to be any stage, it's going to be maybe now. So we shall
We'll
see.
see. Let's see.
To be continued.
And
And
what's
the
your other
other
one?
one,
Yeah.
okay, that I'm seriously obsessed with true crime podcasts. I actually know too much
Too
about
much.
crime. It's a little bit
Yeah. I
concerning.
think maybe I'm the one that should be scared about this this
Yeah, if
unknown
yeah,
relationship.
if it had been the other way around, I don't know if I could continue doing this podcast.
Oh gosh.
No.
Well, also to be continued, we shall see.
Mhm.
What's a belief you've had to learn when it unlearn, sorry, when it comes to raising multiples?
I think it's similar to yours that I thought I could control it all, but twins will teach you humility and patience very, very quickly.
Absolutely. I'm still learning patience, but
Yeah.
I'm trying. What about a multiple survival tactic that you stand by?
Schedules and
Yeah,
batch everything together, like when you can sleep them together, when you can feed them together, when you can bath them together, especially in those early days, it's just going to make your life a whole lot easier.
for sure. I learned that the hard way after having one non-routine child.
Yeah.
And what about this one for you? Best well-meaning but wildly unhelpful comment.
I feel like there's so many, but I've kind of gone a little bit blank and I'm with you on your hands are full or just like the people that pass by and say double trouble. I think Andy and I, like when we catch their eye, we're like, oh, here we go. Like
You
they're
just
about to say
disengage now.
double
You just like
trouble.
look down. Don't look at me. Don't talk to me.
I know, and I like, look, I don't take it seriously. I know people mean well. It's just like, oh, it's so old.
Yeah,
It's so
please
old.
just help.
It's like you said, it's so much nicer when someone like actually surprises you with like a really positive statement.
I don't even know if it's nice or it's just so unexpected that it feels so nice.
I think that might be it.
Probably just base level kindness.
My gosh. All right. Well,
Anyway,
I feel like that's enough about us. Now you know who you're dealing with. But thank you guys for being here, and we can't wait to chat with you guys next week.
can't wait.
See you later.
Bye. That's a wrap for today on All at Once.
We hope you laughed, maybe cried a little, and most importantly, felt seen while navigating the chaos of raising multiples.
We release new episodes every week. Subscribe to keep them coming.
And if you want more in between, you can find us on TikTok and Instagram, sharing behind the scenes moments, practical tips, and exclusive guest insights. Or watch the full episode on YouTube.
It's messy, loud, and beautiful. Life with multiples all at once.